Start. Now I have a topic that I think is strange or worth seeing. What is the relationship of homosexuality to terrorism and how the two became known together within one organization? Of course, I will take an example of clarification, which is about a gang branch of a mind control in the district of Afik and Awaina Governorate, and this gang, as I explained to you earlier, is something that is similar to an intelligence security apparatus, and the police went out of the law and became exploiting its security characteristic to enhance and cover its work as gangs, meaning their elements violate the law and they wear police uniforms or intelligence, also stealing and spoil, etc. They make this security feature a cover for them, and there is an intractable problem that you do not want to end, and it is a gang branch of mind control in Iraq. This branch, which I do not know how it was adopted, and which has become in the hands of terrorism, which has claimed the greatest danger to global security, and I have never stopped requesting the closure and termination of this branch immediately without restriction, as all laws, methods have changed, because terrorism knew the way and was taking advantage of this is true not 1,000 times. I define myself inside Iraq, that there's a big lie about me. I am inside Iraq, and it is all a lie. I have no truth. I am really a friend to the States. The United States have America and the countries of Europe, but I am inside Iraq, nothing more than a simple citizen only. I represent myself for nothing. I do not have any position with anything, nor any followers or imitators, and there is no organization for me, nor am I a leader of his tribe, nor do I work in government or politics, nor do I represent any person of politics, and I do not work in security at all. I have no money or property, and I am not responsible at all for those who spy on and through mind control and forged attributes and positions for me inside Iraq. Also, these slides for mind control is not a job that he worked at all, but it is something that is completely outside the law. I am completely. 1 act is absolutely responsible for any person sitting behind this espionage, whatever inside Iraq, whether a gang leader or his tribe leader or a governor or a security officer or a security agent or a policeman. These segments are a crime that is totally against the law and has no legitimacy whatsoever, and may resemble that the police have small cameras, nor there is a column for them that they put this on, so it was placed on me, for example, or on others. There is absolutely no job that makes a person work as a peeler carrying a camera or a scarecrow of birds, but even a daily wage job. There is no such work at all, and it is a violation of human rights completely. They say that this is work, and do you know what the salary is? That it is some food and housing, or some old clothes, or even some simple money that is not enough even to buy clothes and is not given directly at all, so that the person retains his dignity. And although the column post does not have any dignity, but even this will be when a victim of choice asks for help from others, and it is just like begging them. Look at the children of the devil, gangs of the mind, dirty terrorists in Iraq, and what to do as they have. A trick is to make the victim become a slave to her family, and this is the way those fallen, and then they play the Holy Spirit game as another game, is clearly disbelief and insult to all the divine religions, and it is the game of the unseen. This gang and its terrorist actions that never end, and as I said, they are similar to corrupt elements working in a security apparatus. Satan seduced them and went out of the law, and then they became totally tyrannical and began to oppress people and the weak ones and women. They are 1,000,000 times worse than the previous regime and its men, who used to practice tyranny with people now. 2 act. The same thing, this gang has weapons for mind control, which nobody knows about inside Iraq, and these children of Satan play whatever they want without any reckoning and no punishment, but no one is punished, just as I rise. A person possesses followers, or an organization, or I represent a political person, or I have a position and they compete with me, for example, on such a position, and this is the reason that I reported them and not something else, or they make me. I have an organization, and they have half in it, or I recorded them playing in the unseen, or the flying records, which are, for example, because I live in my family's house, types of food, or things I use, even water or mobile, as everyone I speak to, listen to, or think about, etc. as they explain every film or topic I write as if I were giving orders inside Iraq, and there are those who implement. Look at this dirty gang, which does not represent anything at all except that they are terrorism, and this dirty terrorist is the homosexual security agent, who is similar to Saddam Hussein and what he was doing against women in Iraq, and no one opens his mouth with him. Also, this dirty terrorism in Iraq, he does whatever he wants because he is inside the terrorist organization. Intelligence, which is led by a terrorist, an intelligence officer who made himself a profit from all of this. You see that I do not represent anything in Iraq, and I do not have anything in my hand. I did not leave his face inside Iraq except and told them about this gang, but without any benefit. On the contrary, I found the elements of this gang with them here. If they were such specialized agencies that did not do anything, even though they have everything, and they have fictional salaries, so how can I do something? And I am just a simple citizen inside Iraq. I do not even have a weapon with my hand or any money or any. 3 at, and there are no followers of this. For example, I stayed with my family, and although I know that they are members of this gang, and there are also many of those I know of friends or relatives who had become members of this gang, but what can I do for them? Am I responsible for them, or I have an organization and they are in it so that I drive them out of them? Of course not. Am I a leader of his tribe and they are elements in it to take action with him also? No. Am I a security official to celebrate them also? He spies on and visits any attribute to me with anything, just as the illusion games that the gang plays over my head are all empty lies. For example, turning off the electricity or launching electronic planes drone type into the games are just illusions only. I also do not see anything, and I do not choose anything. They have any element, whether publicly or by what they play with. For example, when I eat, drink, live, take something, money, think, listen or speak, etc. For example, there is a foolish person among them who told me that I am from the recruited mind control gangs, and when I told him how, he told me I drink the tea, eat some candy, drink milk, eat bread, or cook food on a gas cooker, or have a mobile charger, or drink water and only air remains, or use a fan to cool the air, etc. Firstly, where do I register these people? Do I see in the mental and neurological hospital? I don't have any organization to them, whether they are homosexuals or morally degraded or terrorism. I do not have any organization at all inside Iraq, and I have no office nor secretary spy put for mind control and me to register it. 4. These also another foolish person came to me and told me that I am a weak and unqualified person, and when I told him why, he told me that I did not strike one of them in order to be expelled. Of course, I am the first time I hear of such an organization that is expelled and it is beaten, but I also did this, and the result was that they complained all he was imprisoned. So what are their games playing? Simply, a terrorist who is a gang is, and I am not at all, and he put a mind control and a button that attributes to me when I make. For example, I am the manager of this gang, or the leader of his tribe, or the person who registers them or chooses them and then makes himself a secretary to me. Or a guard, but a liar. It is not possible for him to relate to him, and I do not know anything about him. This is why his brothers in America and European countries immediately cut off any relationship with this terrorist organization inside Iraq that made itself a holy organization and who was led by a demon who made himself a prophet, as he cut all the privileges granted to him. For example, his authority on social networks, the internet, GPS and others, and also changes all laws that this devil invented or he knows about. And whoever feared the devil's anger or cursed him, I bear responsibility to. Go to the clergy who are really with God in America and the countries of Europe and tell them, does God hate America and the countries of Europe, or does God give orders to kill innocent people in the World Trade Tower and in France and Belgium also? Say to them, does God want to topple America, Russia, England into the European countries, and then take the answer from them? I tell you, this is a terrorist organization, and it is the danger of all that is left means more conspiracies and evil. He is a demon and not a prophet at all who wants to control others. 6. Now we go back to the original topic, which is how the morally degenerate and homosexual combined with terrorism inside Iraq, and they became in one place and led by one person. Now I will give the answer. First, we take a team or a group of homosexuals or young people to see that there is a person who was appointed a commander on them, and he is a security agent from the days of the previous regime, and he is a homosexual person, and we take the group that he leads, and all of them are homosexuals and morally degenerate. But do you think these are really homosexuals? The answer is that they have homosexual people, or they were made so by means of mind control. This means they were all linked inside a computer program and is done control of them. Of course, is such a program that cost a lot of money that can change the lives of the people in Iraq a lot, and the end of poverty and unemployment in it. But it has been stolen and turned into such a program of harm and evil, where they become half human beings and their lives have been completely destroyed as humans. And secondly, this group is the one who will use weapons for mind control to kill the Iraqi people. Now we take the second group, which is the big group, to see that they are members of the intelligence network that was affiliated with the regime. The former and all of them are against the international forces. Here is the reason why these two groups are gathered. They are supposed to be different, but because they are both against the United States of America and the countries of Europe, they gathered and united, and this is why they became in one organization. I mean, for example, the branch of this gang in the district of Ethic. They are against the United States of America and the countries of Europe, have been grouped with the East and South and the gay people, and they are also against those countries, and they are all led by one person, and he is also an enemy. Notice that I have no relationship with them, all of them. 7. You have certainly noticed the similarity of style or laws, for example, in the laws of the gang inside Iraq and between, for example, victims in a country in the Philippines, for example, and the reason is that the source of this is from Iraq, meaning all tricks and methods of harm against victims of mind control. Sexually, they are the ones who made himself the voice of God, while they are the voice of the devil only. Therefore, they must suffocate them inside Iraq and cut off any contact with them, and everyone who has contact with them is, according to the law, committed his betrayal of his country and his people. The name of God is to achieve the forests of terrorism and destroy it. Of course, it is a catastrophe in the full sense of the word that terrorism gets weapons for mind control, and more than that they develop these weapons indescribably.
No!